Everyone's enjoying the new year according to the Julian calendar, or Gregorian calendar. As I said before, I've made my views clear on where I stand with this, but I don't disrespect other people's beliefs. If that's what you believe in, then Happy New Year, whatever calendar you follow. I just want to build up on the video I did, I think it was 2 weeks ago. This time I want to talk about the lust of the flesh. And the reason why I speak on this is around that period when I was doing that video, I have to admit the spiritual warfare that I was going through and am and currently going through has increased. I can also admit that I've slipped and fell quite a few times in different ways. So in this video, I'm going to focus on what lust is, what love is supposed to be. So to get straight into it, since I made that video, I've been having these dreams or nightmares, and they come like sevenfold. Like I'll have a dream about a weird scenario. Sometimes it's sexual, sometimes it's not. I wake up, then I go back to sleep, and I go through the same dream or a similar dream, and the dreams don't stop. And sometimes I'm going through this thing called sleep paralysis, where your body can't move. I've been through that many times, but recently, towards the end of the so-called year, it's been happening a lot. I know what to do in that situation, or what you should do in that situation. You pray immediately, depending on what religion you are, or I don't want to say denominations because I don't really believe in denominations, but what you've been taught growing up, the prayer is very powerful. That's the only way you can stop the sleep paralysis, in a sense. So I don't get worried when my body is not moving. For those who don't know, what sleep paralysis is, when you're awake but you can't move your body at all. So my eyes would be open. I can probably move my eyes, but my body's not responding. So at that moment, quickly, I do the Lord's Prayer. I use Christ in my prayer. So sometimes it takes a minute, 30 seconds, 20 seconds to lift that feeling. And then I wake up properly. And then I'm in the real world, if you know what I mean. Or I have control of my body. So since that video, that last video, I've been having these strange dreams, vivid dreams that you remember. My dreams before were very shallow. I didn't really dream that much, to be honest with you. Especially if I was, I don't know, if I had a night of drinking, I wouldn't dream anything. Nowadays, this doesn't make a difference. I'm continuously getting these dreams. And since that time, how can I say, the spiritual warfare has got to a level where it's honestly changed me as a person. I can't. It's like a constant temptation to fall deep into the ground. So I can admit that I broke my yearly semen retention. Not through masturbation. That's not really something I do. But those who are, struggling with porn and masturbation, I feel for you. Stay strong. This was more of well, sex by a certain type of lady with the influence of alcohol. And that was a lesson I had to learn once again. I'm still happy I went through a whole year of semen retention. Now I'm back on the horse again. But soon after that last video, the temptation was so deep, I slipped. I definitely slipped. But I got back up. The next day you get sober, not just from the alcohol, you get sober in life in general. Because you can get drunk in lust or love, whatever you call it. And at that moment, you have the normal feelings of guilt. You feel, your confidence is gone, depending on how you live your life. Maybe you don't actually care, but I do care. So, what is lust? Lust is love, shallow love, done for a short time. Lust is the desire of the flesh, bodily desire. What is lust? What does lust do? It gives you pleasure. And the reason why I want to speak about this is lust is not just in the form of sex. Lust can be you wanting to spend too much money on something you like. It can be something that you want, but is against your belief. So, as a Christian, if you believe in the word, you know what the word says, but you go against God's word. Because, the human flesh, whether you like it or not, is in the dominion of the devil's playground. It was made from God, but we're in the devil's playground. So when you're walking about in the flesh, those instant pleasures, the pleasure you can get from it, that's lust. So if you see a nice girl, nice shape, she speaks a certain way, but you don't want to spend the rest of your life with her, you just want to have sex with her, that's lust. And really, this is the battle, or the spiritual battle, you're going to go through forever. This is the spiritual battle I'm going through. Yes, I lost one battle, but for sure, I will win the war. This war won't be lost. Straight after that night that I had, I decided to fast and pray. Now, I feel strong. I'm actually quite happy it happened. Because with every mistake, there's another triumph. You will find another way to prosper. So I'm interested to see where this road takes me. I'm still supporting semen retention. So this year, hopefully I can go another year, see what type of growth that brings. I wrote some notes because there's some things I want to just touch on. So I bring it back to Romans chapter 8, verse 5 to 8. I'm not going to read the whole verse, but the part of the verse that really goes on to my mind is, "For the mind set on flesh is death." That makes so much sense to me, as the flesh is going to end up in a coffin anyway and the spirit lives on. That's why I try my hardest to just follow my spirit. Sometimes we give in to our flesh, but Most times, what the flesh wants is not what the spirit needs. Like, for example, okay, we need food to survive, right? But we don't need to eat so much. There's certain foods we don't really need to eat. It's different if you have no option but to eat that food, then you eat that food. But if you, say, want to go to McDonald's 4 times or maybe 10 times a week, I don't know, that's a gratification of the flesh. If you want to have a sex with multiple women all the time, that's a gratification of the flesh. But if you want to find a life partner so you can build and worship God together, well, that's following the spirit. That's not following the flesh. So that's why I talk about spiritual warfare, the fact that for me personally, this is a battle because I'm not trying to fall into the traps of what my flesh wants. What's the other point? My other point is with lust, I've noticed that there's a disregard for the past and the future. When you're going through lust, you don't care about what's going to happen in, long-term future. You're just thinking about the present. It's very much what is happening now. It's very superficial. Like it feels really good. It's like a drug. I can say that from experience, very recently. That's how it felt. A little bit of alcohol in the system. All of a sudden, my strength just went down. There was a weakness. I'm not sure, how the other lady I was with felt. I assume she's an atheist, but it's not about her. She wanted to have fun. So she pounced on the weakness. And through my own weakness, I pounced on lust, the desire of the flesh. That's exactly what it was. And as I talk about that, it is a corruption. When I think back, it's a real corruption of the spirit. Otherwise, I would wake up and feel great. I'll feel like, oh yeah, this was great that this happened. It wasn't great because it's not lifelong. That lady, I had no intention of spending the rest of my life with, to build a future with, to have a child with. In fact, the more I think about it, I don't know why I did it. But I'm happy it happened because, like I said before, it'll be interesting to see what type of person you become once you build on your mistakes. Don't run away. That's why I like making the type of video like this, because I have to stay true to myself. I'm not perfect, nor do I try to seem like I'm perfect. Always strive for perfection. Like they say, reach for the stars, but you're never going to reach the stars. It's just that's the direction you should go in. Obviously, the bad thing is, my family could watch this, but at my age now, age of 30, I can honestly say I don't care. Being half Ghanaian, you're always told not to say these type of things, keep it to yourself and this or that. But the times we're in, I don't see the point in keeping things to yourself. If you think you can help someone with the mistakes you've made or the good that you're doing, share. We all need to share a bit more. I'm going to try and close this video by talking about pleasure. So on that night, or the nights I've had before I started semen retention, where I didn't care about, you know, retaining my sperm or semen and all these things, where I was really just, I was a slave to the flesh. It was all about pleasure. I was living for the now. I was just thinking for today. I didn't really care about tomorrow. And it goes back to that saying, tomorrow is not promised. I was put on this earth for a reason. We're all put on this earth for a reason. The fact that you don't care about tomorrow is an insult to God. That's what I truly believe. You have to care about tomorrow. That's why now I look at what I did in my past and see it as a disgrace, but a triumph at the same time, because I can tell people like my younger brother what to expect. In fact, he's the first person I tell when I make a mistake, because I don't want him to make the same mistake. So I'm always transparent with my brother. But I want to try and be more transparent with the public. There's a lot of younger people who, they need to realize this pleasure that you're going for will only lead you to death, especially when you get addicted to the pleasure. You don't think about the consequence. You just keep going and going and going. Maybe there won't be someone to save you. Most times you do get saved, and you can learn, like when you go to prison, you might reform your ways, come out and be a different person. But there's a chance, a big chance, that you come out and you will just commit the same crime because it's harder for you to get a job. So if there's anyone who reads the Bible and you want to read anything to do with this, I would read the book of Ephesians. I would just read that whole book, to be honest with you, because it really helps when it comes to do with immorality. In a way, I've accepted life as an endless battle between the desires of the flesh. And the desires of the flesh is what you want, is not what God prefers. That's where the word love comes from. Love in Greek is agape, which essentially means prefer, which is talking about what God prefers. So what God prefers, and then you got lust, which comes from, what's the word? I think I wrote it down. Yeah, epithumeo. So that comes from a passionate desire. And a passionate desire has nothing to do. The word is concrete. The word is the spirit. But what you want is essentially lust. It's not all about what the flesh wants. It's deeper than that. So I'm gonna leave it there, so we can ponder on that. I will do more videos on this. Not lust, but many spiritual things, because it's good we stay open about this. We're all going through our own battles, and we have to fight together, because around at this time right now, there's so much stuff happening that the eye cannot see. There's so much news that's being hidden from us, that we have to be strong in these times. So I wish you well, and peace.